Okay. First, we're going to become really still and into the room, as it's been already an energetic morning, to say the least. Big breath. Let it go. Another breath. In. Release. One more breath. Now let it go. We are so happy that you're here again. And we have waited for you your entire lives. And nothing has been accidental, including this morning. We wanted this to occur because we wanted each of you to understand what is coming in your new world, in your new life. There are going to be upsets. There are going to be things that come up and you're going to see them very quickly. And you are meant to remain calm and to just know that everything that is occurring in your life right now is meant for your highest good. It's filling out your divine plan. That's exactly what's going on. It may look chaotic as Roger's morning looked today, but he knew, we said, calm down. We need you to maintain this calm intently. When you're calm, you're trusting, you're knowing that whatever is occurring, you're going to find a way. It's going to work out. You're going to get what you want. You're going to create the world that you want. You're going to complete your mission, as we told you the other day. We have this message on the screen for, we don't have the message on the screen. 1 second. Whoa. Okay. All of it is perfect. All of this is perfect. We want you to understand that. That's why we're messing this up this morning, because nothing can shake you now. You have been through so much, not just the last couple of years, but you've been through so much in your entire life that you were meant to discover and own that now and use it, because you are here at this juncture in your world's time-space trajectory to bring in a new world. And the reason that we're doing this, the reason we wanted to talk about this, the reason that we are doing the talks in January is because we know it's going to be bumpy, just as Roger experienced this morning. And then you are meant to shift your focus back to yourself and say, what am I here to do? What am I here to accomplish? How am I going to contribute? And what I'm going to contribute is going to make a difference. And that's what you're uncovering now. Because see, it's not possible for any of you not to make that contribution. If you're here, you're going to make that contribution. But the way you're going to do it is by owning every aspect of who you are. Each of you have had lives where you've judged some of your experiences. You've judged some of the things that have happened to you. You've judged some of your conditions. You've judged things that you've seen going on in your world. And especially recently, you've judged all of it. And all of it was meant to cause you to go inside you. You came here to actualize your evolutionary journey. And you picked this time because you knew it was going to be really intense. And as it becomes that intense, you get shifted into a new direction. And it's always internal. We told you in 2012 that everything that you're doing in this lifetime is about uncovering and actualizing who you are so you can allow your soul to evolve. That's all you're doing. That's all that you're ever doing, is allowing your soul to evolve, because that's what goes back to the great source. You see, that's what you're connected to. We have not understood how some of you have not seen what is within you, what you have, what you possess. But we know that's what goes on, because that's evolution. And every lifetime that you've lived, you've done the same thing. You come in and you actualize a little bit more of yourselves, and then you don't. You leave a little bit undone, you see, because then you get to do it again. We're making this light because that was our intention. We're going to make this fun because we know what you're going to see. We know how you could react. However, you are the ones who came to make something happen that's going to be different. And it occurs when you come together and put that collective energy together. It's much more powerful. We're saying that because there are not as many of you here. We're not speaking about just this talk. We're talking about on the earth at this time. There are not as enough of you here to just simply make this difference and make the change by yourselves, because you knew you wanted to work with others to bring them together, which is why we started doing the work that we directed Roger to do groups, talk, keep doing it. It's hard to believe the changes that are occurring in your life because you had trouble even believing and accepting the life experience that you were living. But we want you to understand this. You chose it. But you, no matter what you thought about it, you chose it for a really great reason. You chose it because you wanted to evolve. And every obstacle, every challenge, you wanted, because you knew that if you moved through it, you would not only cause your journey, your evolutionary journey to accelerate, but you would add your energy to all that is, because you're all connected. You're all one. We've said this over and over again, and we're going to talk about it a bit more, because what's going to happen in the next several weeks, you're going to keep fighting about your pandemic and your vaccines and all of that, and it's going to get bad. And we told you before that, we told you months ago, actually, that you would act more urgently when you start seeing what's happening to your kids, and that is occurring now. But that's okay, because see, then what will happen is more of you will be moved to do something. And what you will do will inform another part of your journey, your life, what you're here to do, because you came to make a contribution. Now, the problem that many of you have is that you think that your contribution is not enough, or you think that others are more. No, it's never that. All of your contributions are equal. You just sometimes decide that you're not enough, or that you're not equal in some way, just depending on which lifetime you're living and what part of your evolutionary journey you're attempting to live out, because that's what you're doing. We've taken Roger through so many different things to bring him here because we want you to understand, yes, the changes can be uncomfortable, but when you make them, they're wonderful. We want to say that because he moved into different things he didn't understand. He kept uncovering things that he couldn't why didn't I see that before? You each will do that. You're uncovering parts of yourselves that you had long forgotten. You had placed away. And they're here now because you wanted to use them. I want to say that perfectly so you understand. You wanted to use them. Everything about you is something that you meant to use in this lifetime to cause yourself to evolve, no matter how you might have judged it. It was to cause that to happen. You each are on different parts or different places in your journeys, in your evolution. It's all the same. You're each on different places. However, you're here now because you wanted to move through a big place. We don't know what it is for you. We can't tell you what that is specifically, but we just know it's there. It's in front of you. And it's always something that you have not been willing to own, to access, to acknowledge, and to love. It's all of that, you see, because you were born perfect. You were born perfect. And the perfection was dualistic. The perfection was what you wanted to move through, your restriction, your limitation that you've carried around forever because you're this eternal being. So you've always been here. But when you did that at this particular time, wow, will you accelerate the world's evolvement? Many times we will have Roger do things he doesn't know why. We explain them later. And that's what you each need to understand, that you're being guided, even though you don't understand why you might be doing certain things or moving in certain directions, you are always being guided. Okay, so when you start to accept that more readily now, and it's going to be easier because you're moving into a new world, as we told you, you're moving into a new time on your planet. It's a galactical shift, as we said. So it's not going to be the same. None of you could have possibly experienced it, even in your eternity, because it's always ever changing. While it all exists now, it's still ever changing. And that's the concept that humans have difficulty with. But we're going to keep talking about that as we go through January, because January is going to call for a lot more understanding. We just want to say it's going to call for a lot more understanding. And the understanding is going to be within you, because you have something within you that if you were willing to own it and actualize it, you could make such great changes in your world. You could. But you've decided, some of you, that you are not that important, you don't have that much power. And as we've always said, there's no hierarchy of souls. None. You could decide to be the greatest leader your world has ever seen. You could decide that now. And you could manifest it. Why do you think we have that on the board, on the screen? We have it on the screen because each of you possess this, except you live lifetimes where you just don't quite go there. You just kind of don't go there, but that's okay, because then you get to do more. Now we're going to give you something that Roger doesn't even completely understand, except he can kind of put it out in his life, and then you'll look at yours, because he can see all of the things in his early part of his life, in this physical life, where he had all kinds of manner of things happening, problems, illnesses, just disasters, anything you can possibly think of. All of that was occurring. And then it stopped. Because inch by inch, he started to get out of his way. He started to move forward. He had to do that because otherwise he could not bring this information to you. You each are doing that. You are here to do something that's going to cause not just this lifetime, but your entire future world, your entire future planet. You're doing that now. We were so anxious, and Roger was upset in our last reading because he thought it's too much. It was too intense. We wanted that, you see, because it made him really uncomfortable. It made him really uncomfortable to hear it because it was too forceful. It was too powerful. But we wanted him to embody that. You each need to embody more of that aspect of your being, where you own yourself, where you understand that you are just as important and powerful as any being that you have ever seen, because that is the reality. But this is a different time, you see. And as we've said, we've gone into revealing some of the historical things because it helps you to understand what's going on in your world now. If you can see the historical things, that's the premise, that's the foundation that you do need to see. However, there is no foundation for what's happening now. You haven't done this. How could you know? Which is why more of you have been afraid. And you think that your world is going to end. It is not. However, it may look very different, as we've always said, because the world that you want to see is not guaranteed. But if you decide that you're going to do a bit more, that you're going to really jump into who you are and just let that be fun and let go of your judgments, wow, the kind of year you're going to have, because you're going to create this wonderful world. We can say all this now because, see, Roger went through all that craziness just this last week because he had to become uncomfortable with who he used to be. That was intentional, what we said. We want you to become uncomfortable with who you used to be so that you can become comfortable with your new self. That's the message we gave you this morning, you see, your new self. That's the most important thing that's going on right now. You think it's about out there in the world. You think it's about all those other things or other people. It's not. It's about you. This is an individual thing that you're doing, and it's right in front of you. And we're going to keep moving you there because, see, what we also know is that the more of you who decide to honor the brilliance that you brought to the world, the more of you who do that, the world just starts to blossom, just becomes more. Every aspect. We've spoken of this many times, and we're going to do just a tiny bit here because some of you still have this idea that I am not that important. I'm not enough. And have you ever looked at the people in your world who do particular things, jobs that you consider to be menial, and they're saying they're wonderful? And then you come back later, especially as you did during your pandemic, where you say, oh no, these are more valuable. You see, you make evaluations that you really can't make. You're not in a position. You're always living in a limited awareness, with a limited awareness. I mean, you can't see what's coming. There would be no point for that. There would be no point for your physical life experience if you knew everything that was coming up. You don't. And so each of you have different places that you've been in your lives and your journeys that would have this come about. We said to you that Roger had this ancient memory because we wanted you to understand that we are accessing information. He doesn't have all of it. We give parts of it. We've said that. You each access elements, small increments of who you are, and then you start to accept it and it becomes okay. And it's different. And we keep saying why we have said before, your chronological age has nothing to do with it, because some of you who are here have a lot more connection and memory and wisdom than Roger even, because you're in a different place. You can't, but as humans, you don't know that. You are just supposed to know that every aspect is important. Nothing evolves or changes unless you put in all these different elements to cause that to happen. And you've seen it. We gave Roger a wonderful visualization that you each could try to see, to get a little more comfort in this coming period, because this coming period is going to be a little bumpy. And it's going to be bumpy. You can make it better when you understand this. But what goes on for humans, you don't like to change. And so then when change comes up or it's presented to you, you will fight it because you that fear of the unknown. Except the unknown is where you want to go. You don't want this world that you're seeing right now. So you do want to change. So you want that unknown, but you've kind of feared it. Then that's why you have guides. You've had them throughout your history. You have guides. You have people who will give you information and interpret things that some of you don't really understand, possibly. And then you evolve. You all do that. And there's no separation here. There's no hierarchy. As we said, that's not something that's just given to one. You all possess this, but you were meant to use it at this time. This is where it's coming about. And we are so pleased that you decided to do that. And even with today, we want to say, we did this, we had this go on because we need your resolve. And we've given you many messages about your resilience, because you all have it. You all have it, and you felt it. You've gotten through so many things. You've moved through things that you haven't even told people about. That's the problem. That's the problem. You each have done things and moved through and accomplished so much in your own development that could aid your world if you're willing to own them and understand why you have them and understand what you were supposed to do with them. We told you that. And the reason we gave you this particular message, Roger didn't know. We led him to it last night. He said, 2016, why 2016? So then we had him remember, because he, in 2016 was the time where he decided, okay, I'm really going to start listening to my Wilhelm. I'm really going to start doing something now. It was torture getting him to do it, but he finally started. And see, what you're seeing is what we wanted all of you to know now. Again, you have trouble with time, your linear time, but we see everything happening now. We can place things. That's why we give you what you think are predictions, and they're not. They're just logical outcomes of the actions that you each are taking. But we also know that if you decide to let go of all those terrible things you've been saying to yourself, all those things where you thought you were a mistake, or that you made a mistake, or that something went wrong, when you begin letting go of all of those, wow, you move through this easier. But again, the chaos that we created this morning with Roger was intentional, because you're going to see some of that. And we want you to remember this moment so that you can remember who you're supposed to be, because you have such light and love and compassion and benevolence within you that has been stifled, that's been held back. And now is the time when it was meant to become more useful. But it requires you to get out of your way. Now, we're going to say this because we've laid out in so many ways the human time frame that it took, that was Roger's, and moving through things. And none of you are going to have the same thing. You do not have the same paths. But his time, his lifetime, this time, is to demonstrate these things. And as we've said, to help you move beyond your fear and doubt, because those are the things that he possessed the most. So when you have someone who has done that, who understands it, then you use that to cause yourself to evolve, and then that's your world. And so what we said, we had Roger look at, just examine your world. You can do it in pictures. Let's do it, just do a photo journal discovery of your world, and look at how it's completely different than it was 100 years, 500 eons ago. And the way that happens is you each come in to offer your essence and decide to create something great. And the world evolves, your technology. We led Roger to something else. We'll give it to you next week. He hasn't studied it yet, because we love opening up new vistas of information, because you're going to all require that. But there are many things that civilizations that you haven't known about, existences. Now many are worried, are questioning or wanting to know about all those other worlds and the extraterrestrials and all of that. If that's part of your journey this time, you'll find that out. But right now, we know that you're here to work on that part of you that you've been denying, that part of you that you have not owned, that you have not loved. And we're going to keep staying on that, because we know how powerful that is. And we know that if you bring it forth, you're going to make such a big difference. And we know that if more of you do that, wow, you'll be creating the world that we want you to live in. That's for sure, but one that you're going to like. I know that sounds completely out of left field, which is why we went so urgent in our last call. not enough of you are paying attention. Things are being created in your world that you would think would be out of left field somehow, and they could never happen, and they are. But they're doing that because they're meant to inspire you to actualize the essence of who you are. And you know that essence of you, when you're deep inside, when you feel what's within you, you know how wonderful that is. But you haven't always told everyone else. You haven't even told yourself. When's the last time you stood in the mirror and just looked at yourself and said, I love you? Can you do that? You're going to. You're going to. We're going to keep speaking until that occurs. And we told you before that you come into your life and you use fear and doubt to navigate your way through, and you're doing it really in an enormous way now, but you use that because you want to come to love. That is the only thing that survives. That's the only thing that causes your world to evolve. That's the only part of you that you will remember. The rest you will leave behind. It took so much for us to get Roger to finally say words that he didn't understand. And he had to figure them out later. But it's such a glorious thing because it's so rewarding when you do that. It's so rewarding. When we first told you about your life operating instructions, Roger said, that's not possible. I don't understand. He said, yes, we gave you this because you didn't understand, and you're supposed to present it to others because they will not understand. In other words, each of you have so much that you do not understand, and you couldn't remember it being given to you. You couldn't remember that, but you're remembering it now. It's starting to become uncovered. As your world shifts, you are literally moving into different physical dimensions within the world, the galactic shifts, as we said. So the ones that are occurring right now are actually, it's all interconnected. It seems like it's just happening arbitrarily. No, it's happening as a result of all of the interactions of all the masses, all the humans on the earth cause that, and you affect your planets, you affect everything, even your global warming. That's why we talked about it. And because, see, if more of you decided you were going to love yourselves, you would actively do things that would cause changes in your world that you knew would be for the betterment of all, that you knew would help everyone. And you would not be so selfish and worrying about your money, because that's not what's going to stay. That's not what's going to last. And that's not why you came. Each of you came to make this wonderful contribution. This marvelous contribution. And all you have to do is just keep getting out of your way. We're saying that because you have to be patient. You're not going to change the things that you've been saying to yourself, over and over again, or the behaviors, the actions, or all of that. You're not going to change it overnight, but you didn't want to. You wanted to experience your power emerging. See, because you feel it. Your power starts to come through. Oh, that's more of me. Now I feel that. We had Roger throw into one of our programs the Superman stance, because that's what we need each of you to do. We want each of you to do that. And it's a physical thing that occurs. When you stand up, throw your shoulders back and say, I am strong. I am powerful. You bring that in. Your subconscious doesn't know the difference, you see. Whatever you tell it, it believes it. It doesn't know the difference. It's not locked into, observing this physical reality that you see. It's locked into your feeling. It's locked into your intuition, which is connected to the source. And you each have that. and you're going there and you're doing it in your own way, individual way. And the part of it, this now, which we know that many of you here are here to bring more of others in the world together. You didn't know that before, but you are. Because see, that's the healing that more of you will be moving through in this lifetime, because your world needs more of a, you were separated for centuries, but now you're coming back together in a different way. And so it becomes this concern for all, not just your individual place, not just your individual country, or your individual even ethnic group. No, it's each time you become more inclusive in every imaginable way you can think of. All your differences are intentional, because you can't evolve if you don't have contrast, if you don't have something to look at to make a choice or comparison. And you each play that role for one another, whatever lifetime you might be living. Some of these things will start to make sense to you as you hear them, as you contemplate them later. But the most important thing is that we wanted you to understand that you were deciding today. And as we also said, this particular day doesn't have any particular meaning in terms of the date, but it does have huge meaning because of what you have done collectively. You will understand that because see, you've for years, for centuries, for eons, well, not for eons, you didn't do that before. You didn't pay so much attention to the actual years or earlier on, your prehistoric times. You didn't do, but it in this Western actualization, in your industrial revolution, it became much more then. And so then you started this process of taking January 1st and making it the most important when you started on your New Year's Eve. But that was also something you set up that never served you. Because see, on New Year's Eve, you would make all these great resolutions that you would never complete, that you would never hold on to. That's why we didn't want to do anything on New Year's Eve. We said, Richard, no, we're not doing that. We want to do it on New Year's Day because you need to decide. This is the perfect place to decide. And again, as we said, it doesn't matter that this is an arbitrary date, but it holds power because you're all doing it at the same time. There are many people in your planet, in your world, that are bringing in, that know what's happening and are bringing in this energy. They know, all doing it at the same time. And as that happens, there's an energy that swells. And you all become more. And there's nothing more joyous for us than to aid you in that process. And we're appreciative also to those of you who have spoken about our work and told Roger what a difference it has made. And thank you, because he doesn't trust just as you do. You're all doing the same thing. You're just doing it at different times, different levels, but you're all moving to the same place. We've called this a restructuring, and we did that intentionally. Some have used other terms of what is happening in your world, but we wanted the restructuring to be intentional. Because as we said, our thing is not about this hierarchy, making things better or more. And so some of the other terms cause you to look at others as being evil. You see, they don't know as much as me. You will never accomplish your goal if you maintain that attitude. And that's the one that each of you will come to understand. We'll keep working with it. Because as we said, all of you, you all have this. You're hypocritical, you're contradictory, and you're right. We're going to keep talking about that one because you are right. The life that you're living is the one that you wanted to, and the aspects of it, your beliefs, every condition, everything that's included in your life is what you wanted, because if you accepted all of that, you would be your most magnificent self. And that's what you're up to this time. And because you're doing it now, because you know that your world needs you. Where you hadn't felt needed before, you will feel much more needed now. And some of you have already felt that. So you've been experiencing it. You've been finding yourselves, finding those folks who want you, who want to talk to you, where you've been able to offer something. You didn't even know you had it sometimes. More of that's going to happen because we said you're needed more now. You've become far more important in this world because of this shift, the planetary shift that is happening. We use restructuring because, again, it's a moving around. It's not an up or down. It's none of that. And so it's a moving around. But every time you do that, you ascend. But you do that collectively. The reason that we don't use that term a lot is because some of you have used it as a means of separation. Like you've used many other things in your world as separation. But you only evolve when you use things for inclusion and wholeness. That's and every civilization, every lifetime, we break them down in different different segments, but every you think of century, if put them in what humans like to measure things. If you can think of it that way, that's why we like using the photos. You can look back and see 100 years at a time, the different changes that went on, and it always happened because each of you decided during that time that you were going to own yourself a little bit more, develop and bring your gifts out to the world instead of holding them back and judging them and thinking something was wrong about you. And that's what you're going to do. And it's going to be fun, though. We've made a lot of things fun if you haven't noticed, because some of you have really struggled and you've suffered and you were sad. You cried a lot. You did all that stuff. It was worth it, right? You did so much. But now you can look at it and go, oh, I see now. So I can tell them, oh, this is where it goes. It gets better. You wonder where that phrase comes from, it gets better. So because people knew. As you evolve, you'll see. And each of you, we are speaking to you, and we know that you know. We know that you felt it. We know that you have seen what has been occurring in your life, and that it was intentional. That's what was supposed to happen. But we made this light. We even started years ago, because we had to get Roger out of something that he was stuck in, just like so we just give it to you guys. And we called it, we said, how to have a happy childhood. He goes, that's crazy. I was never happy. Now he understands why. See, that wasn't what he was meant to do at that time. And now he understands why. Each of you have had these periods of your lives where you haven't understood the challenges of what was going on, but you're going to start to. They're going to start showing up. You're going to start acknowledging them, and you're going to evolve. And as you do that, you're going to then do what you came, because we told you the other day about your mission, because you have it. You don't want to say it sometimes, but you have it. You wanted to make a difference. You wanted to change the world. You wanted to do all these things that were going to cause something to be more, but you didn't know if you had it. You do. That's why we just get so pleased when you hear the words, because we know it gets through. We know that we're speaking and your higher self is grabbing you and causing you to listen now. And more of you will do that. And the intensity of that will be apparent to you in the next few weeks. You'll see. But remember this. If you can remember this message that's on the screen, if you can remember that part, you're going to do so much better, because you're just actualizing yourselves now. each of you in your own way, through your own experiences. When we led Roger back to that particular message, he hadn't seen it until last night. We like doing that. We like surprising him as well. But he says, oh, that's what you meant about all those hardships. You mean I would know the benefit of them now? Yeah, if you did the work. And see, in 2016 is when we had him start to do the work in this way. And the first part of his life, he had to work through, as we've said, working through all of his stuff. And then he said, oh, now because I've done that, maybe I'm supposed to do this next thing. And that's why we urged him in 2016 to begin, but we told him to start here because we knew that it would be helpful today for each of you. See? And you'll get that. And you know it. You're going to know it. And you're going to hear this video at some other point, and it's going to resonate on such a deep level you're going to know. And each time we do it, you're going to get to the place, which is all we care about. You're going to get to the place where you believe in yourself more, and you trust yourself, and you stop doubting, and you laugh at yourself. You're bringing light to the world, which is why you're here. You're bringing light and love into the world. And we can say those to you now because you're much more willing to hear them and believe them. That's why we did the crazy talk the other day. It wasn't that, but it was just uncomfortable, you see. You each have been in comfortable places in your lives, meaning holding on to some particular identity or thought about who you were going to be, and that's being blown apart, and that's why it's unnerving now. But we are saying it's for such a good reason. For such a good reason. And it's given Roger inspiration. So we thank you for that. See, we've been working on this a really long time. Really long time, just as you have. You have been working on something that's not just in this lifetime. We want you to understand that. It might make it a little bit easier. If you understand you've been doing, so you're these eternal beings and you've always been in the process of evolving, you never stop doing that. But sometimes in whatever lifetime, you take on a little bit more, as in this one. The chaos, the conflict that you will see in your world in the next couple of weeks in particular is purposeful. We want you to remember that, please. It is purposeful. The upset, the chaos, all of that's purposeful. We've given you many messages over the years where we've also said that, chaos always breeds unity. None of you kind of understood that, but you will begin to. Because it'll cause you to own yourselves, because that's the only reason you're here. It's the only reason you decided to do it this time. The only reason you decided to have this life. And we're so pleased that you did. That's why we keep thanking you, which you didn't understand. But we know that the essence is, we can see it. This is why Roger will say certain things to you. He doesn't know, because he sees, we direct him to see these things. And so that's why he says, and he can say it with such authority at times, because he's getting a different level of the information. But he has his own things, just like you. He's resistant and fearful and doubting and all of that. But he also knows that he has an awareness that tells him he can no longer do that, because he wouldn't be fulfilling his life mission, just like you would not be fulfilling yours, until you decide to own every aspect of who you are without the judgment. That's all. We are so pleased that we gave you the disruption this morning, because it's caused great peace. It's caused great peace. You will have these moments where you're just at your wit's end, and then you'll stop and you'll remember this day, you'll remember that message, and you'll remember who you are. And you will decide to bring that in. And as you do, you're going to start to see your life change, and you will see your world shift as well. And the more of you, we keep connecting the world, because there are far too many of you who have not attached or known your connection and your importance. But now you will. And so we're so pleased that you're doing that. We will continue on with the series. We will have everything in order. We only needed Roger to have this experience for each of you to come into this new world with more assuredness, with more safety, with more belief, with more trust, even when you freak out, even when you do that, you see. But we want you to remember, your attitude, your light is going to be really essential moving forward. Okay, we would like to open for any questions. We're going to manage this today somehow. We will open for questions. If you have anything you'd like to say or experience, whatever it might be. Let me come here. Okay, I think that I can bring you guys in. Let me see what's in the chat. Okay. Okay. Oh, Cody left. Okay, great. We're good. Okay, so we're good. I guess we had a few people. So we have the recording. The recording will be edited. We'll get it out. I don't know if anybody had anything else they wanted to say. Can I, let's see. Oh, there's only two of you here. Okay, great. All right, we will get this edited and out. And so next week we will have everything together. So thank you all so very, very much. Anything else before we go? Okay, great. Thank you all so much. I will see you soon.